The Indiana Fever's latest signing might be the missing championship piece. Two-time WNBA champion Sydney Colson just revealed her ambitious plans for transforming the Fever into a title contender. In an exclusive interview, Colson dropped bombshell insights about her special connection to Gainbridge Fieldhouse, her chemistry with rookie phenom Caitlin Clark, and why this team reminds her of her championship Vegas squad. I see young players that are super hungry to win and very competitive. I think that second half of the season last year, a lot of people didn't want to see the Fever in the playoffs because you saw how they changed things after the All-Star break. They were gelling much better together. They kind of had a better understanding of things. Like, it was a lot them adjusting to Caitlin adjusting to the rest of the team. But when they got going in the second half, and now with the addition of, some veterans who have won, and Dewana Bonner and Natasha Howard, just bringing different people in, you have some veteran leadership and you have some winning experience, and that's a perfect storm really with the players that you already had. So I think her veteran leadership combined with Indiana's young firepower creates a perfect storm that has executives around the league nervous about what's brewing in Indianapolis. I was making a decision in free agency to go somewhere else, talking to front office people, talking to Steph and new staff and even players that I already knew here. It just felt like, when something just feels right, it felt like it was going to be the right fit. And then, like you said, my last few seasons in the W, I wasn't even expected to make it as long in the league, yet alone get 2 championships so late in my career. So I'm very grateful for the journey. And gentlemen, we need to talk about what just happened, because the Indiana Fever's signing of Sydney Colson could be the move that finally transforms this franchise from rebuilding to championship contender. If you've been following the WNBA, you know that Colson comes to Indiana fresh off back-to-back championships with the Las Vegas Aces, bringing exactly the kind of championship pedigree and veteran leadership this young Fever squad desperately needs. In a revealing interview, Colson opened up about her decision to join the Fever and what she sees in this roster that has her so excited about the upcoming season. It's fascinating to hear directly from players about their free agency decisions, and Colson was refreshingly candid about why Indiana felt like the perfect fit at this stage of her career. Once I was making the decision in free agency to go somewhere else, talking to front office people, talking to staff and new staff and even players that I already knew here, it just felt like, when something just feels right and felt like it was going to be the right fit, Colson explained, but there's something even more incredible that makes the signing feel like destiny. Many fans might not realize that Colson has a special history with Gainbridge Fieldhouse, the Fever's home arena. I think it was really fitting that I come back to Indiana, Colson revealed. We won a championship here in Conseco Fieldhouse, now Gainbridge, in 2011 with Texas A&M, so everything was kind of lining up to making sense for this to be the place for me. That's right, Colson has already experienced championship success on this very court. She led Texas A&M to a national title in this building, creating the kind of full-circle moment that sports narratives thrive on. When a player has those kinds of positive associations with an arena, it can create a powerful psychological advantage. Like, I've experienced getting cut from several teams in several situations, and I don't know, it just gave me thick skin. It also made me persevere. I was forced to. It's like, you're in and out of the league, you got to find a way to get back, find value on teams, and whether that was my defense or it was my creating for other people or being a good teammate, honestly, being a good person has taken me very far in the league, and it's not something that I sought out to do. It was just, a lot of people aren't intentional about, caring for everybody, your teammates, the support staff, the whole atmosphere of an organization. And so, yeah, it's shaped out pretty well, and that's how I've ended up. And what makes Colson's journey particularly remarkable is how she's persevered throughout her career. Unlike some of the league's stars who have enjoyed a straight path to success, Colson has experienced the ups and downs that make her appreciation for where she is now even more profound. I wasn't even expected to make it this long in the league, let alone get 2 championships so late in my career, Colson admitted. I think it's shaped me, because it's made me a very resilient player and person. I experienced getting cut from several teams in several situations, and I don't know, it just gave me thick skin. This resilience and mental toughness is exactly what the Fever need. While they have tremendous young talent led by Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston, they've lacked players who truly understand what it takes to win at the highest level in the WNBA. Colson brings that championship DNA, along with Dana Bonner and Natasha Howard, the Fever's other significant veteran additions. What's particularly interesting about Colson's perspective is how she sees parallels between this Fever team and her championship Aces squads. When asked about similarities between the backcourts, Colson didn't hesitate to make the comparison between Kelsey Plum and Jackie Young in Vegas to Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell in Indiana. I for sure see it in the work ethic, Colson emphasized. Those players in Vegas were in the gym early, leaving late, always working extra on their game. And to see even younger players with that same work ethic and that same mentality and desire to improve individually but make their teammates better too, that's a dangerous thing to see in very young players. This observation shouldn't be taken lightly. Colson has first-hand experience with what a championship backcourt looks like, and she's seeing those same qualities in Clark and Mitchell. That should send shockwaves through the rest of the league. It's also worth noting that Colson specifically mentioned what she saw from the Fever in the second half of last season, when they began to find their identity and chemistry improve dramatically. I think that second half of the season last year, a lot of people didn't want to see the Fever in the playoffs, because you saw how they changed things after the All-Star break. They were gelling much better together, Colson observed. They kind of had a better understanding of things. It was a lot of them adjusting to Caitlin adjusting to the rest of the team, but when they got going in the second half and now with the addition of some veterans who have won, that's a perfect storm really with the players that you already had. The phrase perfect storm is particularly telling. It suggests Colson sees all the necessary elements coming together at the right time, young talent ready to break through, veteran leadership to show them how, and a franchise making the necessary investments to support championship aspirations. Speaking of investments, Colson specifically highlighted the organizational commitment she's witnessed from the Fever ownership and management. After experiencing the gold standard with Mark Davis's ownership in Las Vegas, Colson wasn't going to settle for anything less in her next destination. Indiana is very serious about what they want to do, and they're showing that investment is serious for them, for this team, and it makes players want to come here, Colson said. I think that's how they had the free agency that we have, because people see that they're bought in and they want to win. This organizational commitment cannot be overstated. In women's sports, we've seen how proper investment from ownership can rapidly accelerate a team's trajectory. The Aces are the perfect example. They became a dynasty almost overnight once Davis provided the resources necessary to succeed. If the Fever are making similar investments, that's an incredibly positive sign for their future. Beyond her basketball acumen, Colson brings another element that could prove invaluable to this Fever team, her vibrant personality and ability to keep things light while maintaining competitive focus. Known as one of the WNBA's most entertaining personalities on social media, Colson has a unique ability to build team chemistry through humor and authenticity. I'm the kind of person I'll talk to a stranger. I like talking to my teammates, of course the coaches, but like the staff, Colson explained. A lot of times as athletes we show up to practice or we show up to games and we don't realize how much time that everybody else has put in to make our jobs easier. And so I want to have conversations with people, ask them about their day. This intentional relationship building creates an environment where everyone feels valued and connected. In high-pressure situations, having that foundation of trust and camaraderie can make all the difference. I just try to read situations and see when is the time to inject some humor. Colson continued, is it too heavy of a situation, like, yeah, we lost y'all but whatever, insert joke here, and everybody's like, we're living to see another day, it'll be okay. This ability to manage team emotions could be particularly valuable for a Fever squad that will face unprecedented scrutiny this season. With Caitlin Clark drawing massive attention and sky-high expectations, having a veteran who can keep the mood light while maintaining competitive focus will be crucial. Colson also believes this Fever team will bring a distinctly different energy than what fans saw last year. I think like much more lighthearted. I think we'll work hard together, but in game, I think you're going to see a more free and like having fun kind of team. Colson predicted, a lot of high-fiving, a lot of smiles, a lot of joy in this game that we get to play for a job. I think that's really going to come through people's TV screens this season, and they'll see a very different group of players on the court and on the bench. It'll be a different energy. This vision of a joyful, connected team that plays with freedom is exactly what fans want to see. Basketball played with that kind of spirit is not only more entertaining to watch but often more successful as well. Teams that genuinely enjoy playing together tend to make the extra pass, help each other defensively and rise to challenges collectively. Perhaps most significantly, Colson emphasized the critical importance of playoff experience, something she and the other veteran additions bring in abundance. It's so critical. I think it's going to be a huge part of what can take this team and what usually takes teams over that hump, Colson explained, because you now have people that have been in that situation. So when you're in a timeout and maybe you start reeling or feeling like something's a bigger deal than it is, they're composed and calm and telling you it's all right. We're going to fix this way, and it calms you down. This calming presence in crucial moments cannot be overstated. How many times have we seen talented young teams falter in the playoffs because the moment feels too big? The veterans the Fever have added know how to navigate those waters. They've been there before. They understand that no playoff deficit is insurmountable and no lead is safe. That perspective becomes invaluable when games tighten in the fourth quarter. When directly asked if she believes this Fever team has the pieces in place to win a championship, Colson was unequivocal. "Yeah, I think they are. I think they are." Coming from someone who knows exactly what championship teams look like, having won 2 titles with the Aces, that assessment carries significant weight. She's not just being optimistic, she's making an informed evaluation based on her experiences at the highest level of the sport. What's also interesting about Colson's perspective is her understanding of the bigger picture for women's basketball. When asked about her message to the Fever fan base, she took the opportunity to advocate for the entire WNBA. "When y'all come to see us, watch the other team too. Look for new favorite players, and then go support those teams on TV sometimes too," Colson urged. "The more that we're using the support for certain teams to keep growing the W in general, because there are a lot of fun players on lots of teams, so show them respect, show them love, and let's keep growing the game of women's basketball." This perspective demonstrates Colson's understanding that while individual team success is important, the rising tide of interest in women's basketball benefits everyone. With the Fever scheduled for 41 nationally televised games this season, that means 41 opportunities for opposing teams to showcase their talent as well. Colson recognizes that this increased visibility is good for the entire league, not just her team. The timing of Colson's arrival in Indiana couldn't be better. The Fever are at a crucial juncture in their rebuilding process, with transformative talents like Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston establishing themselves as cornerstones of the franchise. Adding veterans with championship experience provides the perfect complement to that young core. What makes this particularly exciting is how the pieces all seem to fit together. Colson isn't coming to Indiana expecting to be a 30-minute-per-game player. She understands her role as a leader, mentor, and contributor who can provide steady play when called upon. She's embracing the opportunity to help develop the next generation of stars while still competing for championships. For Fever fans who have endured several challenging seasons, this combination of promising young talent and proven veterans offers legitimate hope that the franchise is ready to turn the corner. The last time Indiana made the playoffs was 2016, and their last championship came in 2012. That's a long drought for a franchise that was once among the WNBA's most consistent contenders. With Colson, Howard, and Bonner joining forces with Clark, Boston, and Mitchell, this team suddenly has the blend of youth and experience, talent, and leadership that championship teams typically possess. Add in Sophie Cunningham's energy and competitive fire and you have all the ingredients for a special season. The real question isn't if this team will be better, it's how much better and how quickly they can put it all together. Chemistry isn't built overnight, especially with so many new pieces, but Colson's experience with the Aces taught her what successful integration looks like, and she'll be instrumental in helping this group gel. One factor that could accelerate that process is the shared excitement about what this team could become. There's an undeniable buzz around the Fever now, and that positive energy can be powerful in bringing a group together around a common goal. We're going to make sure that we're working behind the scenes to give them a good show and to show them that women's basketball is fun. It's cool, Colson emphasized. That behind-the-scenes work is what separates contenders from pretenders. It's one thing to assemble talent, it's another to forge that talent into a cohesive unit with a clear identity and purpose. Colson's understanding of this process will be invaluable as the Fever work to establish their new identity. For the Fever front office, the additions of Colson, Howard, and Bonner represent a clear statement of intent. They're no longer content to simply develop young talent and hope for the best. They're actively pursuing championship contention, and they've brought in players who know what that takes. This aggressive approach is reminiscent of what we've seen from other WNBA teams that have successfully transitioned from rebuilding to contending. The Las Vegas Aces didn't become champions by accident. They made strategic additions around their core talent and created a culture of excellence. The Fever appear to be following a similar blueprint. What's particularly exciting about this Fever team is that they have the potential to be both competitive now and sustainable for the long term. Their core of Clark, Boston, and Mitchell are all young players with significant upside, while the veterans they've added provide the immediate boost needed to compete at a high level. This dual-track approach, developing for the future while competing in the present, is the holy grail of team building. It's difficult to achieve, but when executed properly, it can set a franchise up for an extended period of success. As the season approaches, expectations for the Fever will be higher than they've been in years. The national spotlight will be intense, particularly with Clark's arrival generating unprecedented attention for the team and league. How this group handles that pressure will be a key storyline to watch, but with veterans like Colson who have thrived under the brightest lights, there's reason to believe this team is well equipped to meet the moment. Championships aren't won on paper, of course, but the foundation being laid in Indiana is undeniably promising. For a franchise that has been searching for direction since the retirement of Tamika Catchings, the path forward now seems clear. The Fever are building something special, and Colson's arrival is a significant piece of that puzzle. When the final question of the interview asked Colson if she believes the pieces are in place for a championship, her confident "yeah, I think they are," speaks volumes. She even jokingly suggested they could cut to footage of the team winning a championship after the interview. While that might seem bold, it's exactly the kind of confident mindset champions possess. They see the possibility before others do. They believe in the process and the people around them. And most importantly, they're willing to put in the work to make that vision a reality.